Hey guys, my name is Shirley and welcome to Learning with Purpose, where it's all about helping you achieve your goals. I'm super excited to give you guys as much knowledge and wisdom as I can on all things about helping you pick your subjects for your senior years of high school, specifically for the HSC. And I'm mainly just going to be looking at New South Wales just because that's where I've studied. I don't know how the other states work. I know they are moving towards a more centralized system, but for the time being, for the moment that this video is being recorded, I'm specifically focusing on Australia and New South Wales. So I do just want to preface this video by saying everything that I'm saying is just general advice. Please do double check everything with NESA, double check with your careers advisors, with your teacher, with your school and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to be breaking down this video into 4 different sections. The first section that we're going to be looking at is just looking at the rules and guidelines set by NESA on what you need to graduate your HSC. Second part, I'm going to be giving you advice on actually how to pick the right subjects for you. Stage 3, we're going to be having a Q&A section. So I did post on my Instagram asking you guys to send me through the questions that you have that you'd like me to hit on when I'm recording this video. Then last but not least, we'll just be having a summary of the do's and don'ts of picking your HSC subjects. So first thing that you got to decide before you even go too far with picking your subjects is deciding, do you want to graduate with an ATAR or with a non-ATAR pathway? So pretty much an ATAR is what they use to get you into university type of thing. So it's pretty much one of the quickest and easiest ways to get into uni, like straight after high school. There are other pathways, trust me, there are heaps of other ways to get into university, but that's just one of the quickest and most straightforward ways. So if you do choose an ATAR pathway, you can it just allows you to get into university a bit quicker and straight off out of HSC. With that being said, you can do an ATAR pathway and not go to uni. That's completely up to you. So with a non-ATAR pathway, you still do your HSC, you still study at school and the such, but you just don't graduate with an ATAR. So when it comes to going into applying for universities, you have to go through other pathways. So if you have decided that you do want to pursue an ATAR pathway, these are the guidelines that are set out by NESA. So NESA says that in year 11 you need to study at least 12 units of subjects, and then in year 12 you need to study at least 2 units of subjects, and 2 of those units have to be English. So essentially most subjects are worth 2 units and some subjects are worth 1 unit. So that's the first thing that you need to know. And then you got to be able to understand the difference between the subjects that are offered. So this is where you really do have to be careful, especially if you're following an ATAR pathway, and making sure that you choose subjects that are eligible to get you an ATAR. So first things first, they break it down into 3 sections. They're what we call our board developed subjects, which these subjects are subjects that count towards your HSC. So these are subjects like biology, business studies, mathematics and all that kind of stuff. And then they're what they call their board endorsed subjects. So board endorsed subjects are things that you can study at TAFE or at school, but these subjects don't count towards your ATAR. And then the third section is you have your vet subjects. So vet subjects, these are offered either at school or TAFE or just different places, but these do count towards your HSC. They're not a board developed subject, so majority of these you graduate with a Cert 2. So if you do want to follow an ATAR pathway, either all your subjects are going to be board developed subjects, or you can do like a blend, which is where you pick board endorsed subject and you get to pick 1 vet subject. So that's what I did. So in my HSC I did Advanced English, Business Studies, Business Services, which was a vet subject, Economics, Studies of Religion 1, and in year 11 I did Sports, Lifestyle, and Recreation. I feel like I'm missing a subject, but if I am, I'll just put it on the screen somewhere here. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you understand. Again, please do your readings on this. Just go on NESA or ask your careers advisor or a teacher and all that kind of stuff, and they can explain that to you. So now let's say you've decided you want to follow an ATAR pathway, and now you're like, okay, Shirley, but how do I actually pick my subjects? How do I decide which subjects to actually do? So I believe you can take one of 2 approaches. One, you can reverse engineer, which pretty much means you look at what do you want to be in the future, what do you want to study in the future, and then work backwards from there. So let's say for instance you set your mind, you're like, okay, I want to be a nurse. So you might pick subjects like biology, maybe chemistry, senior science, or those kinds of subjects. But then there's other people who don't really know exactly what they want to do in the future, and that's completely okay. So for those people, I would say do the opposite of reverse engineering. So that would be to look at what you have been good at in the past and what you enjoy now, and then try to think, okay, where can that lead me? All right, so now when it actually comes to deciding your subjects, always pick subjects that you genuinely love and subjects that you think you're genuinely going to enjoy, and subjects that play to your strengths. You got to remember, these are your final years of high school, and we're so blessed in the sense that we have an education system that allows us to pick our subjects. You know, there's some places where you don't get to pick subjects, so make sure that you make the most out of that and really think, okay, what subjects are going to allow me to have the best experience in my final years of schooling. And now I'm going to start to touch on scaling a little bit, which is something I really didn't want to touch in this video, but I know people are going to talk about it and such, so it's okay. I'm not going to explain it too well because I fully don't even understand how it completely works, but Rowan from ATAR explained it really well, so I'll link that video down below and you can go watch that. I would say don't focus too much on scaling. Yeah, it's okay to consider it, but don't let that be the groundbreaking reason why you pick certain subjects. Like, I wouldn't say just pick subjects based solely because you think they're gonna scale you high, because you're not gonna enjoy your experience, you're not gonna enjoy your studies, and you want to make sure that you're enjoying something. And majority of the time, if you pick things that you really enjoy, you're more likely to perform well in them. But if you just pick subjects based on scaling, and you're like, oh, this subject's going to make me get a really good ATAR, you might actually end up performing really, really poorly, and you're just not going to enjoy it, and you're going to be less motivated to study for it. So that's pretty much what I would say in regards to that. Again, I don't want to touch on scaling too much because it's just an iffy area for me, but again, do watch that video by Rowan from ATAR. So you might be asking me, but Shirley, how do I know if I'm gonna enjoy this subject? How do I know if I'm gonna like it? And what I would always say is, please, 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 before you commit to a subject, before you pick a subject, look at the course description on the NESA website. I would really hate for you to pick a subject without knowing what you're getting yourself into. So yeah, look at the syllabus, look at the course description, also look at past papers from the previous exams from previous years, because that'll also help you get an idea of whether you're gonna like studying that subject or not. Because you could pick a subject, you think it might be a certain thing, but then when you actually start studying it, it's completely different, and then you're gonna hate it, and maybe you might not be able to drop it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just make sure you do your reading up on a certain course before you actually pick it. Now, when it comes to deciding the level of subjects, so there's some subjects that have like different levels. For example, you can do general maths, or you can do 2-unit, 3-unit, 4-unit maths. You can do studies of religion 1, studies of religion 2, and all that kind of stuff. And you might be in a position where you're like, I don't really know exactly which one of my subjects, like which level to pick. I would again say what I said in the previous point is, look at the course description, look at exactly what that course entails, and that will help you to pick. Also look at your past performance and what you think are your key strengths or skills. So let's say you've been terrible at maths all the way up to year 10. I wouldn't say pick 2-unit maths. Teachers are also a good resource, parents and friends and all that kind of stuff. You can always ask them for advice, and they can help you in deciding which level of subjects. And if you are unsure, I would always say pick the higher level subject, and then if it proves to be too hard, you can always drop down, but you can't pick it up. So let's say if you're not sure between advanced or standard English, I'd say go with advanced English, but then if it's too hard, you can drop down to standard. But let's say you do start with standard English. If you're finding it's too easy and all that kind of stuff, you can't go up to advanced. Okay, another thing that I would say as well is try to mix up the level of difficulty in your subjects. Like, I would not say pick really, really easy subjects, because one, you're not challenging yourself, and then scaling and all that kind of stuff. And then at the same time, don't pick super, super hard subjects that you're going to have like a miserable time. You're going to have crazy amount of workloads. You're not going to have free time or anything. So for example, I knew economics was one of my hardest subjects, but I knew when I was going to my business services class, things weren't going to be too difficult, so I could like make up the time that way. Just get that good blend and get to that sweet spot where things aren't too hard or too easy, but are relatively manageable. So now I've just got the questions here that came through the Q&A. One of the questions says, how do I know what is the right subject for me? Again, your intuition, I think, is going to tell you this. I mean, I would say I'd say get advice from other people, but at the end of the day, you're the one who's going to be living that subject. You're the one who's going to be having to do it. Think about what you've done well in the past, and think about what you really enjoy, and that's pretty much how you know if a subject's good for you. I know parents and other people can put a lot of external pressure on you to pick certain subjects, but remember, they're not going to be the one studying it. They're not going to be the one who are going to have to stay up late or wake up early to do their notes or to do those exams. So you got to pick subjects that you enjoy. What if I don't enjoy the subject I choose? Can I drop out and choose a different one? That one's tricky. It depends on the school's rules. A lot of the time, once you start a subject, you can't really drop out. Oh, for me, I actually did drop a subject. In year 11, I'd picked community and family studies. After a week, realized I absolutely hated it, didn't enjoy it at all. Then I went back, and then I picked business services, and I started doing that, I think in week 2 or week 3 of the term, and that was fine. So I think in that first maybe 1-2 weeks of year 11, they might give you a bit of a leeway, but again, it depends on your school. I know some schools don't allow that at all, some schools do. Do the subjects we choose have to relate to what you want to do in university? Tricky one. I would say it's a good idea to pick subjects that relate to what you want to do, because when you do start learning things in university, it's easier and you have the like basic foundation. I mean, it doesn't have to relate to what you want to do in university, but it would be ideal. How many subjects can we choose for year 11 and 12? So that comes back to the year 11, you have to pick at least 12 units. I think you can go up to 14, I'm not 100% sure. And then year 12, you can pick up to 10 units. I mean, at least 10 units. So that's normally like 6 subjects or something like that. Are there any compulsory subjects? Yes. So English is definitely compulsory across the board. So you do have to do 2 units worth of English. I know my school and some schools, a lot of Catholic schools require you to just study some form of religion. So I did studies of religion. So again, double check with your school and teachers. But the only one that's compulsory based on NESA is English. The other ones you're free to choose. And just to close things up, just a quick summary with our top 3 do's and don'ts. So I'd say top 3 do's: pick subjects that you're really passionate about, subjects that play to your strength, and subjects that you know you're really going to enjoy. Number 2, make sure you read the syllabus and course descriptions of each subject, just so that you know exactly what you're getting into before you commit to a subject. And number 3, get advice from family and friends and teachers and careers advisors and all that kind of stuff to help you make an informed decision. But always remember, at the end of the day, decision is yours and you're the one who has to put in the work. And top 3 don'ts: do not pick subjects based on friends or teachers. So don't pick a subject just thinking, oh, I'm going to be in this class with my friends, or this teacher's going to teach it and I really love it, because sometimes it may not work out that way. Number 2, don't pick subjects solely based on scaling. High scaling subjects don't always guarantee that you're going to get a good ATAR if you don't perform that well in them anyways. And last but not least, do not underestimate or overestimate your abilities. So don't pick subjects that are like super easy because you think you're not good enough. But with that being said, also don't overestimate your abilities. Don't put on too much workload for yourself. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me today. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I really am curious to hear what subjects you guys are thinking of picking, or what subjects you guys are studying. Let's just get a discussion going on in the comment section. I love hearing from you guys. Make sure to pop that like and subscribe button if you have found this video helpful. And yeah, with all that being said and done, dream big and hustle hard. I'll see you again next time. Bye.